Welcome to the Stepmom Side with Alicia Crasco, the podcast for stepmoms ready to create the life they want and one they actually have a say in. Here we talk all things stepmom life and just a little bit more. Leave the superficial conversations at the door and get ready for perspective shifts and actionable advice to help you on your way to creating the life you want, one step at a time. Hey, welcome back to the Stepmom Side podcast. This one is, as you saw, all about burnout and overwhelm and reclaiming your peace as a stepmom. I'm your host, Alicia, and I just want to give you, I don't know, a little advice or a little a little piece of encouragement. I just want you to know, as you listen to this podcast episode, know that you aren't alone. I'm going to share stories about what I've experienced. And just know that if you've experienced it and I've experienced it, practically every other single stepmom has experienced it as well. You are not alone. But before we dive in, if this podcast episode resonates with you, could you please do me a favor and just share it to another stepmom that you know? I would greatly appreciate it. That would just make my day. So let's dive in to today's podcast. And my question to you as we start this is this. Are you juggling all of the things? School schedules, meal planning, homework help, extracurriculars, doing the laundry, running people from here to there, making sure that you've got everything before you start the week, or you're the one doing the last minute grocery list, shopping, all of the things. And on top of all of that, you're also trying to keep yourself together only for you to feel exhausted, underappreciated. So if you're nodding or screaming, oh my gosh, yes, that's me, then this episode is absolutely going to be for you. So today we're tackling overwhelm and burnout head on. And a spoiler alert is you don't have to keep doing it alone. So let's talk about how to stop the burnout cycle, reclaim your peace, and lean into support that actually makes a difference. Sound good? All right, let's dive in. So, first things first, let's talk about why you're feeling like you're drowning in responsibilities that aren't even yours to carry. Here's a personal story that I'm going to share with you, and let me know if this is something that you absolutely feel. When I first became a stepmom, I remember trying to do everything. So let me just paint the picture for you. I was 26. I'd never been married before. I didn't have any kids, so I'm showing up on the screen or showing up on the scene with basically what I thought was a clean slate. And I felt all of this pressure. So here's what I felt pressure on. I wanted the house to be ran perfectly because what if somebody else thought that it wasn't perfect? I wanted the kids to love me, my partner to see that I had it all under control and I was killing it, doing all of the things. And on the outside, that's what it looked like. But what was really happening was I felt really irritable. I did a pretty good job of pretending that I wasn't until I couldn't pretend that I wasn't. I hid in the bathroom doing my nails. Sometimes that was just to cry and to get away and just to stop the noise of all of the things that I should be doing or I could be doing or I would be doing or all of the things. But also, what I found myself doing when I was hiding out was questioning why am I even here? How did I get to this point? How did I wait so long to get married only to end up as a stepmom and hating my life? And if you know my story, you know that I spent a lot of the first year of our marriage Googling how to get divorced. I really, really struggled, which is kind of funny because inside the stepmom side community, when I'm on office hours with a new member and we're talking and inevitably they typically ask oh, well, how did you get to this point? And I'm like, well, let me tell you, I Googled how to get divorced all the time. And they were like, what? No one ever believes me, but 100% totally did that. But does this sound familiar to you? You feel like you're doing all of the things, or you feel like you have to do all of the things and keep everything together and here's the thing. So many stepmoms fall into this trap. Like I said at the beginning, I did. You are. So many stepmoms fall into this trap. We're juggling responsibilities that aren't even in our job description, or we didn't even know that we were signing up for them. We're trying to be the fixer, the caretaker, the peacemaker, and do all of it without a freaking handbook. It's exhausting, and it's no wonder so many of us end up burnt out, resentful, and wondering if it's always going to be this hard. So let's talk about why that happens. Why does stepmom Why do stepmoms burn out so hard and so fast? So let's break it down. Number one, the emotional load. You're managing school schedules, remembering birthdays, planning meals, and maybe even juggling transitions with the kids, which is so freaking hard, as you know. And it's like you're running the house as a CEO, but you don't get a say in half of the decisions, which is so freaking hard, right? Like you have all of a responsibility, but absolutely none of the control of like what happens. Oh, so maddening. Number two, the hidden triggers. These are the ones that I see stepmoms like jump off the deep end or like drive over the edge of the cliff. Like these are the things that like do it, but just nail in the coffin. Last minute schedule changes is absolutely number one. Last minute schedule changes. Like here you've got this day planned out or this holiday planned out with your partner, and then all of a sudden, guess what? The kids are coming, and you're like, what? Or maybe you've got a day planned with like the kids as a family, and then all of a sudden they're leaving, and you're like, what in the hell? So last minute schedule changes. Fear of being judged by your partner, like how, they're looking at you like, how could you not know this? Or why aren't you doing this better? Or all of the things. The ex, why would you do this? Why would you say this? That's not your role. All of the things. The kids, my mom does this better. My mom does that better. Oh, I don't like when you do this. And just like you constantly feel like an outsider in your own home. Do any of these hit home? Is this resonating with you? Number three, the result. Burnout isn't about being physically tired. It's about feeling like you're giving 100% and it's still not enough. It's that kind of exhaustion that takes a hell of a lot more than a nap to fix. So, speaking of fixing it, let's get into like breaking free from burnout. Let's talk solutions because while burnout feels never ending, it actually doesn't have to be. I'm going to give you 4 steps to start reclaiming your peace. Number one, this is a really big thing that I always talk to stepmoms about when I'm coaching them, the permission to pause. This one's simple, but it's not easy. Give yourself permission to stop. You're not failing by stepping back. You're resetting. Take an hour, take 5 minutes, a day. If you've got a day, that'd be great. Whatever you need to just breathe and recalibrate. You do not have to fix everything the moment that it's brought to your attention. You can just, I'm going to pause right now. I'm going to stop right now. I'm going to take a deep breath. Maybe I'm going to chew on this. Maybe I'm going to process it and then get back to whatever it is. Like, just, it's okay for you not to respond, which you're probably just going to react right away to. It's okay to just pause. Number two, set realistic expectations. You can't do it all. And you don't have to. Define what success looks like for you. You're not here to replace anyone, be perfect, or solve every single problem. You're here to be you. So, realistic expectations, I have a podcast episode on this too. I will link it in the show notes. But actually, setting realistic expectations is going to be a massive game changer for you because a lot of times we think, like, oh, we're going to do this and we're going to do that. And then when those things don't happen, you're like, oh, why don't they happen? Why am I feeling burnt out? What is going on? How did I get here? And it's because your expectations are way too high. And if you, like me, came in single, not married, no kids, let's just talk houses. Like I've talked about this before. Like where you lived prior to becoming a stepmom was probably really clean or probably a hell of a lot neater than it is now. That is not the case with kids. Your house is going to be a lot more untidy, a lot more messy, maybe a lot more sticky than you would like. This is a season. The kids are only little for so long. It's not going to be like this forever. And then eventually, at some point, they're going to move out, and then you're going to be back to that immaculate house. So just set realistic expectations. With kids in the house, it's going to be a lot harder. And then add in if you've got pets, it's going to be a lot harder to keep an immaculate place. Number three, build boundaries. Boundaries aren't walls, they're guideposts. So try this simple script. I'm not available for that right now, but I can help with X, Y, and Z instead. It's okay for you to protect your time and energy. So I'm going to give you that script again in case we're multitasking. Please come back to me. I'm not available for that right now, but I can help with insert whatever, X, Y, and Z instead. It's okay for you to protect your time and energy. Number four, find your people. Overcoming burnout is so much easier when you know that you're not alone. And that is where community comes in. Speaking of community, I have to share this with you. So many stepmoms tell me the biggest game changer for them was finding a space where they could connect with other stepmoms who get it. One stepmom inside the Stepmom Side community told me she didn't realize how validating it would be to hear someone else say, "Oh my gosh, me too. I feel like that." She said it felt like finally being able to exhale the breath that she'd been holding for years. And inside the community, stepmoms go from feeling burnt out to feeling seen. They go from feeling unheard to feeling supported. And dare I say it, lighter. When you know you belong, the overwhelm doesn't feel so suffocating. And if you're thinking, yeah, this sounds great, but what if it doesn't work for me? I get it. I was there too. That's why I created the Stepmom Side community, a safe space where you can connect with other stepmoms, ask your burning questions during office hours, and access quick mindset shifts through mindset moments. Imagine feeling confident, validated, and in control of your life again. Imagine waking up without the weight of the world on your shoulders. That's what's possible when you find your people. And if you're ready to take the next step towards a calmer, more confident life, come join us inside the Stepmom Side community. You do not have to figure this out alone. You can head to aliciacrasco.com/community. That will give you all the information and you'll be able to come and join us on the inside very, 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 very quickly. And you have access to everything right away. So here's my reminder to you. You are doing enough. You, stepmom, are enough, but you don't have to do this alone. Remember, the antidote to overwhelm isn't doing more, it's finding support. You know, like when you and your partner, like there's a stressor that comes up, but if you guys feel like you're on the same team, or when you feel like you guys are on the same team, you feel like you can do anything, like you can handle anything, you guys are connected and it's all good. But if you guys aren't connected and you guys aren't singing off the same sheet of music, it feels like your partner, the kids, the ex, your in-law, society versus you, and you feel alone and you're just like, oh my gosh, I have nowhere to start. That is what I don't want for you. I want you to have the support. So if you're not getting the support from your partner, it makes it that much harder. If you don't have stepmom friends in real life, or if you don't even have an online stepmom community or a community of stepmoms, maybe it's just on social media, it is that much harder to navigate your role, your journey, everything as a stepmom, a second wife, somebody new on the scene. You're going to continue feeling like the outsider. But again, remember, getting over overwhelm isn't doing more. It isn't trying more. It's finding support. So you've got this. I'm here to help. But until next time, take care of yourself and remember, you're never alone on this journey. Come join us inside the Stepmom Side community, aliciacrasco.com/community. I'll see you on the inside. Thanks for taking time to listen to this week's episode. If anything was helpful or resonated with you, please share it on social media and tag me. I'm just at Alicia Crasco. And if you could leave a 5-star rating and a review while you're at it, that would also be really helpful. And if you find yourself struggling with your stepmom journey and you want a little bit more support without the hefty price tag of coaching, you might want to check out the Stepmom Side Community, which is my own private community for stepmoms, where you get to connect with other stepmoms around the world and myself, where I hold weekly office hours and monthly group coaching. It's kind of like you have your own personal coach in your own back pocket. Again, without that hefty price tag. See you next week.